This one starting, the Botanic Gardens in the background, as we can see they're underway.
Yeah, so here we've got the start of the race, so the cocks will have called them to get squared and attention and get their blades buried in the water. The first few strokes of a race are often the most important. You don't want to miss the stroke. You can gain a crucial advantage by getting a lead over at the start, so they'll have got a race plan with the first 10 strokes completely mapped out with what they're going to achieve there.
And Melbourne in the blue uniform with the Wing Victory on the right of screen as you're looking at it. Sydney in the white with the blue and gold hoops on the left.
We've got a nice aerial view here from the helicopter. We're very lucky to have that today, giving live coverage over the bird's eye view of the races. And we can see here that Sydney's got an early lead advantage here at the start.
Do we describe that as a length, Danny? Is that?
Not quite a length, I'd say. There's still overlap here. Melbourne is still holding on. Hopefully they can make some comebacks.
So Sydney rowing on the north side of the north lane, or the northern side of the Yarra. Melbourne on the right, still holding that margin.
So what's really important here to look at, especially with the novice crew, is to see whether their blades are in time together. So you want to get the catches in time, and you want to get the finishes in time, so that the boat's nice and balanced. And we can see here that for a novice crew, they're actually looking pretty good.
Advantage for the Sydney crew being able to see where the Melbourne crew in the blue is.
Yes, so definitely once you get in front in a race, you can look at the crew behind you, and if they make any gains trying to come back at you, you can just do a big push off them with the legs. So it's very important once you're ahead to just be able to use that and build on it. And as you can see, Sydney here are stretching out, they're capitalising on their early lead. And we've got Melbourne, they're just trying to not get too demoralised and just hope that they can hang on. Sydney looking nice and in time here. You can see all of their blades are going in together. They've got some nice puddles. So the puddles there at the finish, they basically indicate how powerful the rowers are. So if you've got a larger puddle, they'll be putting more power down, and they're looking nice and together as they come through the bridge here.
Great close-up shot of the Melbourne crew there.
So as they go through the bridge, it's a good focal point to have a big push together. So they'll be doing like 10 big strokes off the bridge here.
We're getting down towards the latter stages of the race.
Yes, it's looking like Sydney have got a very dominating lead here. Looking very together. Close-up of the Melbourne crew here. Their legs will be burning. They'll be trying to relax their arms so that they can just get the catches in and not make any mistakes.
As we come past the old finishing tower.
This is the
on
judging
the left
box.
Given their relative lack of experience, does this look quite synchronised?
I'm actually very impressed with the Sydney crew here. They look definitely like they've been rowing for more than just this year. Very impressive stuff. They must have had a good coach and done a few sessions to get together looking this good.
And just reminding people, this is the first of 4 races here this afternoon, featuring as a standout the men and women's crews.
So you can see they're coming around a bit of a bend here, so that'll be down to the coxes to give them a good line, a good racing line. You don't want to waste any extra time by going too long around the corner.
And that's the cox making that
Yes, so
steering adjustment.
The cox will be steering the boat and also making calls. So the cox might do calls for pressure on stroke side to help them get around the corner as well, so that they don't have to apply too much rudder, because that would give too much resistance to the boat and potentially slow them down.
As they move down towards the finish line marked by the boys, the Princess Bridge in the background.
You can see the crowds are gathered here at the banks near the finish. There'll be a big roar as these crews row past.
As we see Sydney cruising to the line, the first ever novice race as they cross the finish line. It's a victory to the Sydney crew.
Followed a fair few lengths behind by the Melbourne crew. They'll just be trying to hold it together and get a strong technical looking finish. You can see the boat's rocking a little bit, so maybe a little bit unbalanced with their catches, but they finish and they've tried hard, so very good.
It'll be interesting to track to see if any of these novice rowers would ever make their way to the senior boat race crews in years to come. That was certainly the aim of this event, to try and engage more rowers and to recognise the fact that both boat clubs of the respective universities, which were founded 150 years ago plus, do cater for recreational rowing all the way through to elite rowing, and this is trying to capture some of that introductory level. They'd be feeling like what now, Danny?
Yes, they'll be feeling pretty elated here. They've made a big milestone in the history of this race, and they can say that they're the first ever novice crew to have won the Australian boat race, so pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, this is a very exciting race for them to first start with, so hopefully it'll encourage them to continue with their rowing career.
Yeah, absolutely.